No, we are not doing trivia today. We are going to be doing an article reading together.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We set up our experiments so I can help you get caught up, okay?
Hey, can I have a snack, please?
No, just to you. Why are you looking at me?
That's awesome.
Remember, I think we got caught up. Why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking at me?
Now I want to take the whole box.
Don't trust me.
Like I turn my head, I'm gonna get grabbed.
Thank you. It's long for ready, go. Go on.
Oh, wait.
All right, guys, let's try to see.
All right. So as I said, we are not going to do trivia today. Instead, we're going to read through another article together.
I was like lost in space for a second there, looking at that. Whoa.
Hey, you still got that paper? You got that paper?
All right. So I think you, yes.
I know I'm not. Do you think I can't say no?
Yeah. Let me see.
Look at you, this has everything.
Apparently I forgot. I'm working these clothes like I'm
Hello?
All right, guys. This time, we'll get started. Ready? Okay. So the article we're going to read explains about plant reproduction and seed germination. So what was that word germination? Exactly. It's when the seeds start sprouting, and that's what we're testing with our experiment, right? How different factors affect seed germination.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, your banana's gotten really gross. I'm telling you, go turn mine. I regret letting this happen.
Yeah, I regret it too because I'm not opening up the bag. No.
Maybe we can like just move it around till we find the seeds.
And then restart? Because that's like a lot of water.
No, that's just like the banana juice.
But don't mothers mash up bananas for baby food?
Yeah, but they don't leave it in a sunny window.
Oh.
That banana is dead.
All right. So looking at our article, it says, how do plants reproduce?
Plants reproduce by
Troy.
birds, bees, and anything else that collects pollen from these two, I forgot, things. There's like a male part and a female part of a flower, or let's say tulip, and when the bee rubs it against the male part, it's also rubbing up against the female part that gives off the seeds for it and the plants reproduce.
That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. So some plants need a pollinator, like a bee or a butterfly, to come and take the pollen to the ovary to get that new seed starting. But not all plants, but some plants. So in the article it says, how do plants reproduce? I don't know about you. You can read it if you want to. You want to?
Plants
We
make
have it
love.
for you too.
They make sweet plant love.
I don't know about you, but I love fruit. Sweet, delicious fruit, though, is actually ripened plant ovaries or female reproductive organs.
Wow.
So we eat what? No, what? Oh, what it says that we need sperm to fertilize the seed.
So the seeds,
No, I get you.
the seeds inside the fruits are designed to spread throughout the environment, like Brendan mentioned with the bees and the birds, and grow into new plants in a process called seed germination. So if you're a fan of ripened plant ovaries too, check out this lesson to learn how they grow from tasty snacks into full-grown grown plants. Should I do like ripened plant ovaries?
You
Yeah.
like wiping plant over?
You do? Look
I
at
can't
you.
say it. I can't.
You're enjoying some ripened
Yeah.
plant ovaries
I
right
like,
now.
I like, I'm not gonna say what I'm about to say. I like plants.
I'm glad
I
you
like
like
plants.
plants.
I like plants.
That's
You
true.
really enjoy those
Plants,
plants.
baby.
Them ovaries. You feel me? Them plant ovaries.
Those plant
I've
ovaries.
got brains.
Seed formation. Plants reproduce using eggs and sperm just like people. However, they don't have physical sex. Male plants release pollen, which fertilizes ovaries, as Brenda mentioned for us. The fertilized ovaries develop into seeds, which can then be distributed to make new plants. As the fertilized ovaries develop, a surplus of carbohydrates and proteins are stored inside the seed. This will serve as food for the plant until it can develop leaves. Next, the fertilized plant ovaries develop the hardened coat we see as the outside of seeds to protect them against harsh environmental conditions. The seeds can then be carried away by wind or animals to create new plants. So, yeah. So how do these plants, how do these little seeds have energy to start growing?
Germination.
That's the process of them starting to grow.
The like, it puts nutrients into the seed.
Yes, it puts those carbohydrates and proteins for energy into the seed so that the seed has the energy that it needs to start growing, right? And then it says this word here, a surplus of carbohydrates and proteins. What does a surplus mean? Bryce? So there's multiple. A surplus means a lot. So if a store has a surplus of t-shirts, they might put them on sale to get rid of them, right? If I have a surplus of papers, I might put them in the recycling bin. A seed has a surplus of carbohydrates and proteins so that it can store them for when it needs to start germinating. So after the seed has made it to a new location and it is covered with dirt, it can begin germination. Germination is the process of seeds developing into new plants, as Jonathan helped us define earlier. First, environmental conditions must trigger the seed to grow. Usually, this is determined by how deep the seed is planted, water availability, and temperature. When water is plentiful, the seed fills with water in a process called imbibition. The water activates special proteins called enzymes that begin the process of seed growth. First, the seed grows a root to access water underground. Next, the shoots, or growth above ground, begin to appear. The seed sends a shoot towards the surface where it will grow leaves to harvest energy from the sun. The leaves continue to grow towards the light source in a process called photomorphogenesis. Have you heard the word photosynthesis? Yeah. So both of those things deal with light. That's why we use that phrase photo at the beginning, right? So photo means light. Yes, you're right, Bryce. So, Jonathan, photosynthesis is when the plant synthesizes or makes energy out of light. So this word, photomorphogenesis, means, so Isaiah, photo means light.
Yeah. Oh, dang. What? Photo means light?
Yep. Photo means light. So what does photo mean?
Light.
Now you know.
Like, you know how photographs are?
Yeah. Okay.
So photomorphogenesis means that the plant is growing, genesis, moving, morpho, light, photo. So it's growing towards the light. And that's why with our rock wool babies, that's why we keep moving them around so they grow nice and tall. Oh, and little rock wool babies.
Hey, I go to the bathroom, but that's it. Finish what you saying.
Yeah, let's finish with our wool babies. So another word it mentioned was this word imbibition. Now the imbibition is when the seed fills with water. So we've got our seeds, and they're in the dirt, and they've got that surplus of carbohydrates and proteins, and then it rains, or we water it, right? And when the seed soaks up that water, that process is called imbibition. And the water, it says, activates a special protein called an enzyme. So an enzyme is a protein, and the enzymes trigger germination.
And also prevents you from getting sick.
In humans, yeah, enzymes do a lot of stuff.
Vitamin C.
So we have our little seed. It's filled with the proteins and the carbohydrates, and then it rains, and imbibition happens. And then because of the water that's now been absorbed into the seeds, the protein enzymes can start the process called,
Look at this dude.
well, first they start growing, right? You're not. So they start growing, and when they start growing, that's called germination. And the photomorphogenesis means that they're growing towards
Light.
light. Beautiful. But there are different factors that can influence there are different factors that can influence the seed germination. Okay? Several factors influence if and how seeds germinate. The most important factors are water availability, temperature, and sunlight. Water is crucial to seed germination. The seed must go through imbibition to activate root growth. However, too much water can be a bad thing, as most gardeners know. When a plant is still growing underground during root formation, it cannot use the sun to make food like most plants do. It must rely on the stored food inside the seed and oxygen from the environment to make energy. If the soil is too soggy, there will not be enough oxygen for the plant to thrive. Think about a person being kept underwater. We wouldn't last so long. So think back to our soil unit. What is it called when there's oxygen in the soil? Bing, 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 bing. Yeah. Aeration.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Nice.
Continue.
So this is why aeration is important, right? Because if there's no air in the soil, our little seeds can't grow. Our little roots can't go. Our plants won't thrive.
Right.
Temperature is also an important factor. Some seeds germinate when it's cold, such as plants in northern environments. Other seeds only germinate when the weather reaches spring temperatures, which is why we see so much plant growth in the spring in temperate climates. Other seeds only germinate after extreme temperatures, such as a forest fire in the grasslands. So seeds need 3 factors to start the germination process. Water, air, yeah, or oxygen,
And sunlight.
and sunlight. So what about your experience? experiments. Do they have those things?
Nope.
Some of them. They've got sunlight. Did we give them water?
Should we open it?
No, don't open my bag. Please.
It's like mine.
I think they'll be okay. There should be enough air in there. What about temperature? Do you think our seeds are at a temperature at which they'll germinate?
Probably
not.
not. It's gonna get cold.
I don't know.
It's gonna be cold tonight.
Yes, this is what
It
we're
might-
serving.
it might
We'll
freeze
get you caught
tonight.
up. So today we are going to look at our experiments, and we're going to start taking our germination data. Okay. So we have these data collection sheets. Okay. And if you notice, there are 5 days to take data on, okay? So we're not just going to stop with one data point. We've got an experiment. We're going to take 5 data points. Oh. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. So, when we start taking our data sheets, we're going to ask ourselves 4 questions, okay? The first one, you're going to check and see if any of your seeds have germinated. That's a simple yes or no question. And then, if they have, you'll record how many of them have germinated, and you'll record that number as a ratio. So that'll look like a fraction. So if I have 5 seeds total, and I look and I see that 2 of my seeds have germinated, I can write it like this. 2 of my 5 seeds have germinated. Okay? Then, if they've germinated, we can measure how long their little sprouts are and record any other observations you might have for your data. So you have 2 experimental baggies, right? So make sure you're recording data for both of your experiments, both of your bags. So we'll go back to this in a second. Are any of you guys involved in the club?
No.
You okay? Okay. Good to know. Wait, is that here? Playground school?
I mean, we like snake climb.
Alright. Okay, good to know.
We like snake.
And then, second point, next week is the end of our first 9 weeks. It's our end of the quarter. So if you have any missing assignments, you don't, you're fine, don't care. No. Oh, no, listen. If you have any missing assignments, make sure you get those turned in to me next week, okay? What's that? I don't know. I'm just putting that
Did you get everything?
What? I don't think so, but I can check. Okay?
This Monday.
So I'm going to give you
down it.
guys your data collection sheets,
Even in
and
Wyoming?
you'll have some time to look at your
taking you back.
experiments, take some data, because I'm trying
You
to
got it there.
field trip. I'm going to
No,
send you
no, I
7
got
experiments.
another round.
Oh, no.
Since
I
I'm
was about to
18.
say.
You are something else.
It was
Are you going to graduate in May or December?
That's true. So you guys might have to stand up and move around to get your data collected.
That's only gonna see it.
That's the smallest I went. Oh wait, no, it's up here, right here.
Oh yeah.
You can read that,
That's the
Mrs. Grant?
smallest.
Vermiculite can keep the soil too wet, which helps bacteria and fungi thrive.
Maybe we could make him join the CIA or
I'm gonna
something.
need to start bringing like a microscope to read right now.
Why is this so cold?
I think
I'm top
Is it
secret.
18?
We'll get a magnifying glass.
They might just be they might just be slower to germinate.
Okay.
Have you always written like that?
Thanks for getting this finished.
Dude, where's the
What's your mother say about it?
Mom said, "Mark,
Nothing's
wow, that's pretty small. I can't read it quite bigger."
That sounds like a mother.
And then my other teacher said white bigger.
All right, Denisha, let's get you going on your experiment.
Day one.
So why are you doing that?
Bum, 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 bum.
I find it weird.
Yeah, you could be checked off. They can't read it. They'll just check it off.
Yeah, that's almost happened.
So remember we started talking about this? So
That's not dirt.
we'll have 2 bags.
All right, put down. You got like a millimeter or what do you call it? Inch or
I want us to decide how your bag can
You're
be
not just sure anything out of that thing.
2 bags.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4,
You notice some room
5
here.
seeds in each bag.
Well, my
Okay?
son's
How about the
SpongeBob.
blue tonight?
You're sending SpongeBob on the Brooklyn Nets.
You said what?
I don't know that ratio
SpongeBob
stuff.
to the Brooklyn Nets.
I'm a great kid. You don't want the family.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I crossed the one so bad.
They beat Lakers. LA Lakers.
So we want these to be exactly the same,
So
except
what's
for
that?
1
What's that?
part, okay?
I'm gonna go get him now.
Okay.
Has the light, like Jonathan?
There's a 10 out of 100%
It's
on
a
lose.
Here's 11%.
I'll be in there.
And then
Better be ready.
and what else, what this question is,
The light?
and then it says no,
So what are you gonna attach?
To my
We're
bed.
gonna do 1 light and 1 dark? Or are you gonna do
I could leave there if I call my mom
with
now.
the light bulb and 1 with the sun?
It's kind of gross. Brandon's got to take his out. Which one is that?
Okay, so 1 is gonna get the sunshine. And 1
Elijah,
gonna
is that- Isaiah, is that
Does that look like a
my
light bulb?
nephew's dad?
Okay, so
Um,
we wanna make sure that
Did
we're
you check
all
yours?
getting the
Is yours
same
making
amount
any
of
movement?
water, okay?
That's
Did you do
cool.
this?
Taking out the steam.
Okay. So,
Well, that's
You're
what you're
gonna
second.
be as far as I needed, I hit the low one. What do you think about the steam?
I don't know if that's dark.
It feels like yellow.
Brycey was all comfort.
you have,
Comfortable.
so
Now,
I
which one is that? Is that regular soil?
yeah.
Huh?
Can plants grow with a light bulb?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's too low.
No wonder I smell coffee.
So
I
our
know I smell
our
coffee
experimental
somewhere.
question can be, will a plant
I got
grow
a lot
with
of depression something.
light bulb? Yes.
How do you choose that? How do you put that?
Grow?
What is that, lost love, a broken heart?
I just like it. I just love it.
No, not yet.
Basically, because a lot of it is heavy metal.
Do you ever listen to,
You mean what? No
on that big plant. Like the
Blues.
first thing is cool.
you ever hear of
Yeah,
it?
so we can watch the roots grow.
There's one kid, he's not a kid, he's like
Hey guys.
80. His name is Buddy Guy. And he always looks, he always
We
looks.
could plant it in the soil. I just don't have any soil right now.
Anyway, he's got,
Come to the game tonight at 7.
his kid's like, was 15. You look up Buddy Guy
You know, she's gonna cut that out
and,
too.
So what
Twin
happens
Sullivan.
here?
when, first time he sang,
So
and he's like,
will the
the kid
seeds
can
grow
play
the
the
sun?
guitar like there's nobody.
Yeah, so it
But Buddy Guy is a great
Grow.
musician,
with
blues singer,
sun,
and
then what do you think
don't
about this?
marry.
Can they grow?
Wait, so we would know, we just put no?
What's your best guess?
But sometimes, promise me you'll listen to that. Buddy Guy,
I'll give it a shot.
Buddy Guy.
They can grow
What are you?
a light bulb.
You don't like the, this isn't really about lovey-dovey.
If then statement is our hypothesis.
So, in that music that you do, like, what are they doing?
Oh, they grow
They say is I hate myself.
like the trees.
Kill myself. It's no one.
Yeah,
So
they're really
that's so
cool.
good. I'd rather have lovey-dovey than that.
Hey guys, what about our data analysis? Oh, none of yours have sprouted yet, Isaiah? Maybe on Tuesday. What about you, Bryce? Do you have any
Just like
sprouts?
mine.
Bryce
out?
He took them out, which I told him.
You think he's pretty?
I took them out because I don't want my nose to know which one
Well, these were little hairs.
I don't care.
Oh, you mean good? Handsome?
I don't understand anything sprout so fast.
Some of the
You
ones
must have
in
put the
second
magic,
half-
these must be magic babies.
Deshaun sprouted.
And so whatever.
You sprouted this morning, didn't I? Or is
No,
it Michael's?
Michael's.
Michael's sprouted, yeah.
Yeah,
You
his product.
guys must have magic beans.
So our independent
Give me your bean. I'm taking your bean.
that is the thing that's different between our two bags. So what's going to be different?
You know what I'm talking
Yeah, the light bulb is different. So that's our independent variable. And our dependent variable is what we're going to measure. So how are we going to measure our seed sprouting? Yes, by how long the seeds grow, right? So the length of the seed or the sprout.
Is that the shaking
Damn it, damn it, damn it.
That gel paint?
Yeah.
That looks so good.
And our control variable, those are the things that are the same. So what's going to be the same? Well,
Any type of hair removes it, induce and grow, and leaves
what
skin
about
soft.
Wait a
our
minute.
water? So we're just going to say water.
Mirror stuff? Mirror?
So our water burns.
Yeah.
Your body burning.
Down here, your experimental procedures. So procedures means the steps. What are you going to do in your experiment? So describe what you're going to do for your experiment, okay? All right, does anybody need more time collecting their data?
Nope.
All you have is now.
Are you a singer?
All right. Oh, you all right, Brooklyn? All right.
This guy is a
So,
singer. Yeah.
bringing it back to me in 1 minute, please, human people.
Dude, this kid's only like 10.
Oh, baby's cute. I don't know.
Buddy
The
got
baby
it.
is so freaking cute. And James
This,
and Brady. Oh my god. They are
Yes, Bryce.
twins that
I
have
mean,
a
this
soft.
kid is so.
But Brady, no, they don't be good.
Yeah, we
Thank
learned
you.
it.
Brandon's and
Oh, I think it's getting close to it, but I wouldn't say it's quite germinated yet, but it's thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I might wanna.
All right, we're gonna have phones away and attention on Miss Rand in 30 seconds.
But I hope you remember that.
We're all learning so far.
Okay, this is so cool.
Hey, this is Jaden.
All right, we're gonna have our phones away and eyes on Miss Rand in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for your attention, Shania and Jonathan. I appreciate it. And Brandon, thank you very much.
Are we on it?
So, over the next couple of days, today and next week, we're going to start our Parts of the Plant project, okay? So, when we're doing our Parts of the Plant project, we're going to identify one structure that we want to learn more about. That might be the root, the stem, the leaf, the flower, or the seed of the plant.
I feel like the seeds are big.
Okay.
So they might have absorbed that water in that imbibition stage.
I know my seeds and the banana kind of not thriving right now.
Right.
Did you check on it?
I didn't check on it.
We have a lot next.
They're still alive.
Just don't know where the hell they are.
Those
Everybody
poor
comes in
seeds
with
are
their
being
hoodies
tortured. So once you've identified your structure, you're going to tell me if it's at the top of your plant, like a flower, if it's in the middle, or if it's at the bottom of your plant, like the roots. And then I want you to tell me about the structure of your plant. So why does a plant have roots? Why does a plant need leaves? And from there, you'll tell me, you'll find two substructures, okay? You'll tell me two substructures. So if we look at this picture, picture. This is a picture of a stem, but it's identified a lot of substructures. It's identified the pith, the epidermis, the cortex.
There's 8 of them.
So you'll tell. Thank you for that math lesson, and I appreciate it. So you'll tell me 2 substructures, and you'll give me their function. Okay. And in the directions, it says we're going to use this information to make a poster. But I was talking about second hour, and I think you guys are maybe a little bit more creative than making posters. Yes, Brooklyn?
Actually, there's 7, not 8.
Oh, thank you for that correction. And I was thinking you guys could fully make a poster if you want to make a poster.
Yeah.
But I was thinking I kind of want to see how creative you guys are.
Okay.
Some of my second hour students said they might rap about their plant part.
Yeah.
Or make a PowerPoint about their plant part. I would love if you guys wanted to express your knowledge in a different way than a poster. That would be really, really cool. But if you want to make a poster too, I love it. I just need you to include in however you want to convey your knowledge to me. I just need you to include these 4 things, okay?
Well, then you got some. Was it Lakeisha that said she was going to rap about it?
She's not in second hour. So, for example, in your substructures, this is the root, right?
Yeah, it grows. It makes it grow.
But a substructure could be the root hairs, the root tip, okay? Same with a seed, right? This whole thing is a seed, but the substructures are like the micropyle, the radical, the epicotyl, okay? And then that's an example of a poster. If you wanted to make a
That's
poster.
pretty.
No, I found it on Google.
I just look. I thought you made that.
If you guys wanted to make something as beautiful as this,
That's not good.
I can draw.
that
Mine
would
looks
make
like
my
a
heart so
flower.
happy. Fun? But if you want
I don't look like this.
So, Tanisha, we're not going to worry about this today because we're going to finish that, okay?
That's how mine
So-
does look.
Maybe if you spent a whole minute on drawing it instead of 5 seconds, it might be a little bit prettier. So the first thing you guys are going to do is choose the structure you want to talk about, whether that's the root, the stem, the leaf, the flower, or the seed.
That looks gross. That's not Nobody
Just
can see
imagine
that.
Everybody in this room, if they were certain things, so she would be a hornet because how fast she was thinking.
What's that?
Nothing.
And you guys need to hold on to your data collection sheets, okay?
I don't know. That's something that
Are you
always
thinking that was
like.
small hour or you want to go back to gym?
I'm gonna let some, we got a sub in gym.
Oh,
I
alright.
don't like gyms in my sub. They go to gym. They be rude.
So,
Are we drawing
I was gonna punch them.
first you're going to answer your questions, alright? So you can use your phones, you can use my textbook, you can borrow a laptop from Ms. Crawford. Let me turn off my video. So,
Isaiah,
determine your structure first, research second. I like that you chose to research with a book. And then I can help Tanisha get started. And we will have Tuesday and Thursday of next week to work on this poster or on this project. And you guys need to be experts. So if you decide to work on the roots, tell me all about the roots, because in the following week, when we all learn about the parts of the plant, you are going to be my plant expert. And you're going to help me teach the lessons. All right.